Wassail Beautiful People. Blue moon, I saw you standing alone. Except this blue moon is not alone, because hiding directly behind it is Gaïa. Shh, Uranus. Okay, so just move that smoke. So, a little explanation as to why I say Gaïa for Uranus. Now, once there was a void, and from within that void, Gaïa birthed Uranus. And then she married him and she created the entire pantheon of gods. And so for me, the planet is both Gaïa and Uranus. It's a combined energy. It's the complete extremes, and it's really the daddy, the mother, the supreme planet of all the planets. It has the most amazing effect. But at the moment, because of Jupiter, Saturn and Pluto sitting in Capricorn, they've been massively in this big sort of conjunctive area, and they're overpowering it. But with this moon on the 31st of October, this blue moon, because it's the second full moon in a month, is about to allow the energy of Gaïa consciousness, our crown chakra, to elevate and to push through and to make a real energetic difference, not just to us, but also to the collective. We are moving towards wonderful new energies. Now, a blue moon on the 31st of October happens about every 19 years. But because this year it's at 1452, 1452, it means that the full moon will take place for everyone wherever you live in the world. And that hasn't happened since 1944. So this is a very rare blue moon. So we're going to have a look at various aspects, but one of the important things I want to talk about is an alignment, and that fits very beautifully in with the misalignments of Karnak that I've been going through. But this is when the alignment returns. You have, if you look at the solar system as a heliocentric image, which means the sun is in the center, so rather than all the houses, if you look at it from that aspect, you will begin to see that there is the sun, and then the earth, and then the moon, and then Gaïa, Uranus. And they're in a perfect lineup. Now, the earth connects with Mars and our molecules, because every molecule that we have is created from the earth. Our vessels in which our Gaïa, Uranus, consciousness comes down from, that's the divine feminine, and the molecules we have are currently behaving as divine masculine. Not in everybody, that's part of the shadow work process to divine up your molecules. For a lot of people, they're still in a kind of fearful raw masculine frequency. But so you've got this wonderful alignment, and I just wanted to bring in here the music of the spheres so that we can understand this a little bit. So you have the earth, see, I might turn that up a bit. And then you have the sun, C and E, lovely. Then you have the moon, which is an A, giving us an A minor chord. And then you have Gaïa, Uranus, up on a B, which is our crown chakra. It's got a wonderful resonance to it that's leaning down towards the moon. Now, we talk about the moon as being emotions, and they are. The moon is a very emotional time, and this full moon will be very emotional, but emotions are also linked to other planets. So for me, when I do sound healing and the way in which the universe connected me to the different planets and sound, this A of the moon is the emotional connection to our third eye. So it's when we understand our emotions, how we perceive them, rather than just allowing the emotions to flow through us and disturbing us and creating a kind of fearful, stressful tension. And that will be the overriding energy of this wonderful B and A, because they're right behind each other. This B is coming through the A down towards our bodies. And so it's integrating a whole new kind of emotional flow that hasn't been around for all of this year. I mean, you know, those three big boys, Jupiter, Saturn and Pluto, they've been overshadowing everything. Now, also, we're Sun in Scorpio, obviously. And so that's death and rebirth, and that's ruled by Pluto. So that Pluto reading that I did back at the beginning of October about the Pluto and Neptune tension to do some shadow work is now beginning to come into its final phase of release to rebirth. So, the Sun is in Scorpio, which is the 8th house. And the Moon is in Taurus, which is the 2nd house. And they're opposites. Now, the 2nd house, I'm just going to get my notes because I really want to make sure we make this very clear. The 2nd house is to do with money, family life, domestic happiness, speech, poets, orators, the mouth, the tongue, education, falsehoods and truthfulness, a kind of house of finance. And then we have, I need to go to a different page here to do the 8th house, which deals with kind of other people's money. And so we're dealing with life, longevity, death, wills, legacies, insurance, other people's finances, accidents, long-term illness, which is very relevant at the moment, chronic diseases, disgrace, intuition, and secret matters. So this is a meeting of Earth, Taurus, and water, Scorpio. Now, that's in the collective. But for individuals, these energies will have different senses and different aspects because they meet in different points. So, for instance, my Taurus, for me, is my 7th house of relationships. So it's about an ending and a rebirth on a relationship. Whereas so what I'm trying to explain to you is that although there is a collective energy, there is also a sense of how with your own natal chart, these have other influences on other parts of your own life. So it's worth looking at where Taurus and Scorpio are for the Sun and the Moon on your chart. Now, they're also at 8 degrees, I believe. Let me just check that because I really want to give you the facts properly. 8 degrees and 4 minutes. So that's a 12. So we've actually got coming up now an alignment with Uranus at 8 degrees 4 minutes, the Moon at 8 degrees 4 minutes, and the Sun at 8 degrees 4 minutes. So there's this row of 12 frequency forming. And what we're trying to do is to find a way to come out of that energy into that free-flowing 13 frequency. And I was posed a question today about what planet deals with flow. And my immediate channeled response was the Earth. Being in the Earth fully allows flow. But just before doing this, another thought was unfolded in my head, which is it has a lot to do with Saturn as well, because Saturn for me represents the natural world, and Saturn is changing. Its hexagonal whirlwind, tornado that's been permanently on top, and it really is a hexagon shape, it's amazing, has grown and changed colour from blue to gold. So there's energetic changes taking place in the cosmos, in the music of the spheres, that are affecting all kinds of different things. So for this reading, we're going to begin with what does the energy of the sun in Scorpio represent. So we'll have with each a Moonology card, but we'll also use the mystical shaman or the Odin, we'll see, it might change, to determine. So first of all, we want to ask, I'm going to move my keyboard. Oh, there it was, clicking off. So this sun in Scorpio, making this 8 degrees and 4 minutes line. What is that about? Right, so we have 2 cards. There were 2 that fell face down, but I'm not going to take them. Oh no, there's 3. See, now that feels immediately like an overview of the entire alignment. From the heart of the sky, which is the galactic center in Sagittarius, through which it's believed possible that all our consciousness comes through. It's like this is the space through which the esoteric knowledge of the moon and the high priestess energy is stored. So we've got that energy cutting through with the blade down onto the earth where things grow, that sense of the abundant sphere that we exist on. So the sun is working on amplifying that connection, which makes sense because you have the sun, the earth, the moon, and then Gaïa, Uranus. So that's creating that lineup. The sun is the thing, the light, the energy pushing forwards to create that aspect. Let's see what the moon's influence on the sun is. What's the moon's influence, please, on the sun? What's the moon's influence on the sun? Nothing is yet set in stone. So this is really interesting. This is talking about how we create the world we live in. If you want to go down the line of thinking that we're heading towards some kind of dark, horrendous future, then that will be the future that your soul, your consciousness manifests. If you push for moving towards a brighter, kinder, happier collective future, then that's the future you will manifest. And slowly people will shift in the dimensional realities, because with the 13 frequency there are infinite realities, and you can choose to wake up each time in a better reality. So for instance, this message that I'm giving you now, while I'm here, my consciousness might this evening when I sleep shift to another consciousness. So the next message I deliver will be to a different set of you that believe more in the version of the manifested good future that I'm trying to move towards. So that's part of the death and rebirth, to allow yourself the chance to move from the darker, more fearful energies into the brighter, lighter energies. So let's take this double deck and see what's fixed and what's mutable as we go through this. So this is the vice versa deck mixed with the Universal Celtic Tarot. And the vice versa has images on both sides. So they allow us to look at mutable energies that we can transform. And the Universal Celtic Tarot shows us things that are kind of fixed frequencies within the music of the spheres. So can you please tell us about the Sun, ooh, in Scorpio? So, wow, 777. Oh, there's another one underneath. 7777, my goodness. Now, that's a little bit of magic in itself. I love the way they're all kind of hidden underneath each other. So, it doesn't begin with the 7 though, it begins with the 3 of Wands. The 3 of Wands is to have a vision. Nothing is set in stone except your vision. If you can hold your vision, then you can set something in stone to manifest as you move forward. And look, as we know from my deeply personal message that I had trouble facing up to the other day, I couldn't go on and look at all your beautiful comments. I felt so shy after doing it. Anyway, so if you can hold this vision, I feel like I was going somewhere then with that before I said that, to do with the vision and moving forwards. It'll come back. So by holding your vision, you prepare yourself to move into better frequencies. Oh, it's really bugging me that had a purpose that was channeled in and then just slid away as I giggled. Maybe I need to stop laughing. Fat chance. So, we have the 7 of Cups. Now, the 7 of Cups is being faced with so many choices. In this card, this vision, this inescapable desire to reach towards this ethereal mother of many frequency of a healing is in the distance, and it's almost like chasing a rainbow. Every time you run, the rainbow seems a bit further away. And that can happen on any kind of spiritual awakening, on any shadow path. You feel like you've moved forwards, and yet the distance, the goalpost seems to have moved as well, but they're not. You're actually passing through energetic portals, but then in the new reality, there's a new pathway to move on, so you have to keep moving. And look, sometimes I do think spirit feels a bit like a narcissist. It's like it promises you things and never delivers them. So, this 7 of Cups, however, is talking about, are you ready? You can't have this dragon's gold yet. The dragon is still sitting there because you haven't done enough shadow work to achieve it. And again, we have another 7 of Cups. Now, in this 7 of Cups, there's a castle in the background in the mist, and the guy's in the emotional pool. He's wandering through the swamp, but he's blind. He's got no pupils. He's just got whites to his eyes. He can't see. And what he's trying to do is turn this energy around to join with spirit. So what we're going to do for that one is take the lovely Afro-Brazilian deck and ask what you need to do to transform that energy. So there's a fixed energy that we're not ready. We have the vision, but we're not ready yet for it. We have to do some work, some shadow work with Pluto. Lovely Pluto. So, I keep hearing the roar of the planes taking off from Faro Airport, and I have to say I did, which I rarely do, get on a plane to get here because it was the only way to get out of France quickly and all the way to Portugal safely. And it's very interesting, I thought, that in the airports they put, you can sit there, you can't sit there, you can sit there, you can't sit there. So every other seat is banned. So they keep all this social distancing, and then you get on a plane and there's no gaps between the seats. The seats are completely full and we're all masked, and then they bring food and drink round and everyone takes their masks off. And also, they had a thing on the flights where you were going to fill in a form for the Portuguese Health Authority to tell them where you're going to be in case there's any kind of COVID risk. And so they were going to bring these forms around, but they said because of COVID they couldn't lend you a pen. Just wonderful ironies. Sorry, unnecessary. So, can we please understand how we turn around this energy? How do we turn around this energy of the Seven of Cups? How do we allow the choices to be clearer so that we know where we're going? It's given me 2 cards and gone quiet. Oh, I see why. Right, there is another card, but the reason is because we have the 4 and the 3 of Wands, which is a 7. So the 4 of Wands and the 3 of Wands. Now, this is a backward step, which is interesting because I wasn't going to talk very much about Mars being in retrograde at the moment, but I do sense it's figuring in this alignment that's taking place, because between the Earth and the Moon in that line is Mars just down here, and it's been travelling backwards, and it's in its own sign, and it's been retrograde for a longer period than it has for a great length of time. And it's that temptation to want to voice an anger, and that's also being amplified by the fact that between the Sun and the Earth, so Mars is up here, Moon, Mars, Earth, just here is Mercury. And Mercury is retrograde as well. So these two are kind of just amplifying this sort of desire to kind of bark at things. Don't bark. Remain centered. Allow this alignment of connecting our earth molecules to our consciousness with an emotional understanding, okay? And let the sun warm that up. So, the 4 of Batons is about striking down on on the earth. But what I'm getting from this card is how we've been striking down on the earth all this year, even though the energies are encouraging us to look within our sacral. We've been striking down on the earth without a connection fully made to our consciousness. There's a veil over the top of that connection. This veil that's being opened at this full moon, this rare blue moon. And then we have the 3 of Wands, which is the veil removed. And this notion of being in gratitude to the earth, being connected to your consciousness, but being in gratitude to the earth. The natural world will deliver flow to us. And it's really important to focus on that, because if you go into your flow, your eyes are opened and you will see the wonders of the real world and the choices that you need to make. So that's that part connected with the Knave of Pentacles. Now, the Knave of Pentacles is the real world. It's not an inner journey work. It's moving in the real world. And it moves very controlled, very understanding, very slow, very thoughtfully. But it has an empty pentacle plate waiting for new experience. So this energy, this rebirth of the sun in Scorpio is about setting about on a new dance, a new energy forwards, changing things. So then we have the 7 of Swords. This is always a very difficult card to read. It has so many complex meanings. It often talks about a thief in the night, and on the other side of the card it is depicted more as a thief in the night. But this is one of those cards where, to me, there's no difference between the energies of the two sides. There's a skull at the bottom here, the death. And then there's something about the light coming on, the rebirth. But what I don't get from this card is the thief in the night. What I get when I see the Seven of Swords is actually working out which swords you need to remove from your life, because it's thoughts, it's air, so that you can put an end to problems that might arise. It's like being a diplomat and going in and knowing what are the points that you need to remove from a discussion between two opposing parties so that you can make the journey smooth. So this is about smoothing something out. But we will ask for a clarification on this. What's the clarification, please, for the Seven of Swords? It's like a realignment. It's a card of realigning things, spotting where problems could be and realigning them. So we're talking about emotions and intuition connecting to the earth. So we have here the King of Chalices, which is to be emotionally stable, but he's put down his weapon. His strength now is that he's prepared. So, and that's a really important energy. I need to point out that, look, this full moon isn't just at 14:52 on the 31st. It starts earlier, about 17 hours before that, as it passes through Black Moon Lilith. And Black Moon Lilith is in Taurus at 0 degrees. And she's what's not visible. But what's not visible doesn't stop you from preparing for things that might strike down, which is exactly what this card is talking about. Go into a prepared state for possible, I kind of want to say, blades that you could tread on and cut yourself with. Find a way to think about the possibilities of what might be coming towards your life by looking at your natal chart and where these houses are, and try and work out what it is that you need to fix or change or realign so that you can go through this period quite smoothly. Now, he has strength. He has the lion seated beside him. He's earthed. His emotions are earthed and he's feeling strong. But it's also very much Zen of the third eye. The emotions are Zen. The preparedness to just sit back and let the energies flow. Now, then we have the Magician. And I love this Magician. Now, the last time this came out in a reading, it may have been the Neptune-Pluto one. I failed to observe something which is screaming at me this time, which is the energy of this hand coming down. This is Gaïa, Uranus, consciousness coming down into the crown to help us to work forwards, to put what we think we need into our plate, this empty plate that we're preparing. What are the choices you would like to see to help you move forwards into a better frequency, to switch dimensions, to move forwards? So that's preparing the Seven of Swords, finding a way to realign you. The next seven that we have is another fixed one, and that is movement forwards. I just want to say, this to me personally feels like it's saying the misalignments of Karnak are about to be the realignments of Karnak. It's about the energy coming together and racing forwards, having momentum to move, having that ability to drive forwards in that birthing of the Pluto Scorpion moon. And it's heading towards the Page of Swords. So this is very much coming from holding a vision internally, third eye vision, 3 of batons, fire, that's that energy of Mars, but holding it calmly so that you can eventually ground and earth it and let that consciousness drive right down into the body. This is, you know, I often talk about before the void, the raw masculine magician came out, and then he created everything in the cosmos, and he felt proud of himself, and that pride was an emotion that he hadn't felt, because before that it was about selfish survival, to tread on anything or anyone as long as he survived. And that brought in the divine feminine consciousness, and she banned him from his creation until he could come back and learn emotions. So he learns to be zen with the emotions, and then the consciousness of the divine feminine will connect through our molecules with less distortions. Remember, our consciousness at the moment is very distorted to fit within our frequency, and it interrupts our flow. So we're ending with the Page of Swords. This is new thoughts. This is about being at one with nature. Look, the old thoughts are buried. The new thoughts with spirit are flying. And again, no need to have the weaponry. It's been dealt with ahead of time. So that's what the sun in Scorpio is trying to bring to us. Just going to lay all these cards a bit further up. They're in a terrible muddle, and in a minute I'll probably want to pick one of them up and won't be able to find them. So now let's ask about, I need my list just to keep in alignment. So let's go now to Gaïa. Uranus. Okay, so no, let's keep with the shamanics. We might move to the Odin for the moon. Oh, so I started telling you something and then went off alignment myself because I'm still out of alignment. The moon moves quicker than any other body throughout everything, and it passes in front of every house and every sign every 27.6 days. So this moon doesn't just happen on the 31st. I did the bit about before, I didn't do the bit about after. So afterwards, it starts to move around, and it will pass various planets as it goes through, and they will trigger different events, and they will also be in different houses. So there is an individual motion, but there's a massive energy at the moment that this moon is setting up as we head towards the solar eclipse on the 14th of December, and then the conjunction around the 21st of December, midwinter, midsummer in the southern hemisphere, where we move out of a 200-year cycle and in some ways out of a 1589-year cycle. Massive change is coming in to the collective. And there is a real sense at the moment how the collective energies are amassing. It's very difficult for me as an empath to be in my own frequencies. I feel everybody at the moment, and so I'm having to develop techniques to connect to my energies, because the best way to help the collective is to heal yourself, not to heal other people. I know, I'm trying to heal everybody. But the point is that we all have to heal ourselves, and that's what helps the collective. So, can we please have cards for Gaïa Uranus at this lovely alignment taking place on the 31st of October? Oh, I'm just going to say as well, I'm not calling it Swain or Halloween. It is Halloween because it's the day before All Hallows Day, but it's not the natural, actual point that follows the flow of the charts from the equinoxes and things. They're all slightly out of alignment, so I'm just calling it the 31st of October for now. So can we please have, I just want to know what that card was that swung around. It swung around and didn't come out. It's it's the Pluto energy of that. So it's like it's saying that Gaia is suppressing those lower world demons of bad thoughts that we keep playing over, because they have to be rebirthed now. So can we please have cards? Oh, it's gone a long way away. Oh, but it's an exciting one. Very exciting. I will tell you in a minute. Can we have some more cards? Oh, even more exciting. Right. You see, look. That first bit was heavy shit because it's Pluto and it's, you know, the sun's in there trying to heat it up to get us to rebirth. Now we're moving on to the magic and the kind of, you know, the energy of Gaia, Uranus, is intuition. It's also breaking of boundaries. It's new ideas. It's the divine rebel who works with sacred anger. And that's what true Mars anger is about. Sacred anger, not pointless anger, sacred anger. Maybe that'll come out. We'll see. But anyway, I want one more card because I'm pushy. So, please. Oh, God, I'm getting really hot. I can feel all of the energies of people inside me. Ooh, we're getting a lot of numbers that are matching. We've got 333 now with a 5, but 333. So, we need a moonology. What's the effect of the moon on Gaia Uranus? Uranus. Ooh. Yes. Okay, so. We start with the card of magic. And that is exactly what, you see, I knew I was going to want these cards straight away. That's what this is. This alignment is cosmic music of the spheres magic. Coming down, this is the note B. Oh, and that's interesting because it's shooting down. I'll come back to no, I won't, because I won't remember if I don't come back to it. We've got the arrow, and in between we've got the beloved. So those were the two cards that made me get excited, because it's like consciousness is coming down to kind of bless us all in our rebirth, okay? And we're being supported finally by that lack of Gaia Uranus coming down. So the arrow, I was going to say, is to do with Sagittarius. I often connect this card with Sagittarius, and it's joining up, it's the alignment, it's talking about that connection from the galactic center, bringing consciousness through in an unveiled new way that we had mentioned before. So we have magic and the beloved, as I've said, and it's talking about confidence is the key. So one of the Moonology cards is talking about confidence is the key to success. We've had no confidence because we've had no connection. It's been thumped down by the authoritarian aggression of Saturn, Jupiter and Pluto. But that's changing. That's coming to an end. Saturn and Jupiter will roll into Aquarius on the 17th Saturn and the 19th Jupiter within 2 days of each other, and form a conjunction 2 days later, a perfect conjunction on midsummer, midwinter, depending on which part of the world you live in, and that's in Aquarius. That's the first time for 200 years, and it's going to change the frequency from that authoritarian earth signs to something that's about the collective. So This is about high priestess energy saying, I've got you. I've got you if you work through this. If you can do that original card, if you can hold your vision, the heart of the sky has got you. It's got all of us, but you can't expect it for nothing. You also can't allow fear to keep you trapped in the old 12 frequency. You've got to be moving towards the 13 frequency. Now, we've got the arrow, which is about shooting into that alignment, connecting. This really is, that's fabulous, because actually, if we go back to the sun one, we had that sense of the alignment between the cosmos cutting through down to the earth, through our spirit, down into the earth, through every part of our molecules. And that's exactly what this is saying. But this time, it's talking about activating the heart chakra as one chakra. This is about connecting into that new magic. And to do that, you've really got to work with the up and coming changes that Saturn will bring when it finally lands in Aquarius, which is its home. So it's going home. We're all going home in our connection to the earth. It's all about changing, awakening this. So we have confidence is the key to success. This is shouting and screaming at me the Lion's Cub Gateway portal that we looked at back on the 8th of the 8th when I was in Le Havre with all that fire and all that heat, which I'm feeling again right now. And this is the message that was coming through from that was about how we needed to work with our damaged inner child. That life, society deliberately damages. Look, I'm going to say this again. Even when I was a child, they said we must stop bullying. They never stop bullying, because if you can damage a child, you can damage an adult. And if you have a damaged adult, you can control them. And I see that now. The fear that's going on in the world at the moment in many ways, not just in the way of the control around the virus, but there's fears being created in terms of job security. There's fears being created in terms of having any kind of future. There's fears being given to the young that they don't deserve anything in life. And that's not good. So this is reminding us, with this eclipse energy taking place, that the solar eclipse on the 14th of December is the solar eclipse of the luminous warrior, which is when we allow our inner child. Don't listen to psychologists. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say this. Psychologists, stop telling people to fix their inner child. It's damaged. What we have to do is integrate that energy into an adult, grown-up inner child that's playful, that laughs and has fun. And that's the luminous warrior. When we self-love fully, we connect to an emotionally strong, and that's that King of Cups, seated with his lion, of course. Now I've lost the card. There, see, it's all beginning to pull together to show us that the importance of the self. This is Leo. Leo is that sign of being confident and having yourself. And then we have, it's time to take action. This is new moon in Aries. Now, this energy is talking about this sacred anger. It's building now within us, and it will build until the new moon next year in Aries. There's a sacred anger that is about to start building, and it's an unstoppable frequency, and it's a dangerous frequency to play against because it's sacred anger. It's not just pointless anger, it's sacred anger. And some people are already feeling it with this Mars retrograde, and that need to voice it, but you've got to be really careful how you approach that. So let's ask the double stack for fixed and mutable energies around the Gaïa-Uranus frequency. Okay, let's start with so it begins with a fixed energy, the Lovers. Fascinating, absolutely fascinating card. When I first got this card, I could not, for the life of me, work out how to read it. It's a story regarding how a man has to make a choice, or a person. Let's change it, let's take out the myth and just focus on what we're seeing. It's about a choice between what is old and familiar but has a dagger ready to cut at you. That's the world of the damaged inner child. Do you want the security of moving on in that world where we continue to be damaged? Or do you want to move towards this new magical energy of a kind of Elfhamir creature? And in this card, it talks about how this choice has to be made, and yet this choice to move with the magic, she's not going to hang around. She's not going to wait forever for you. She will walk back to her magical realm and leave you to the choice that you made. The magic spirit is offering you a choice, but you have to choose to walk with spirit. And you haven't got all day to do that. You will get other chances, don't get me wrong. But what I mean is, if you want to move now into something that's much more comfortable with prepared energies, move towards the choice. It's a card of choices, but it's a fixed choice. So, this is that card that keeps cropping up as well, that talks about 17 generations. 17,000 years ago. That's what it's to do with. I was doing a meditation in the sea one day, and they kept saying to me 17,000 years ago, and I'm like, well, I don't know what happened 17,000 years ago. Now, 17,000 years ago was the point at which our Homo sapiens species became the dominant species. All other species died out. And the reason we survived was because we chose to settle and stop moving around the world, and we decided to set about farming, which is about controlling the natural world to our own ends. Now, that's lovely. It may have saved us, and it may have made humanity possible, but what it also created, which it was meant to, was this desire to own land, to own segments of the world. I'm getting massive earring, and they really want this message out there. It's from the past. So by creating villages, towns, civilizations, you prepare yourself to be under attack by other groups who don't want to do the work but want to create violence to take something away from you. But it's also the frequency of creating not just ownership of land but borders. And it's these creating of these spaces, these nations, that also adds to a level of distortion that has taken place on the truth. We don't own the world. You know, a handful of people truly own, according to them, the land. No, you don't. You just think you do because you put that message out. So, I'm not sure what the reverse of this frequency would be of benefit to. I guess, yeah, I see. Sorry, it just takes a while. So I'm going to take these and see if they give that exact message. So the Seven of Wands. Justice. So it's about facing the shame that has taken place to harm the majority in favour of the minority. Okay, so what are the other ones that we've got here? Right, so we have a repeat of the Lover's energy. So that lack of choice is just saying, it's got that sense of Sagittarius alignment energy, shooting energy up into the heart of the sky, the arrow, the alignment between the sun, the earth, the moon, and Gaïa, Uranus, shooting at the heart of the sky, creating the magic. So the choice is clear to move forwards. And then we have Hermit energy. Hermit is about smoking out and purifying the self. As I said earlier, to help the collective, we have to heal the individual. We have to find our luminous warrior, our emotionally stable adult that is playful, fun-loving, but wise. And that's entering into a shadow vortex. It is Scorpio season. We are working still on that death and rebirth frequency. So, I always get the feeling from this card that the energy's dying away now. It's not, it's like the energy's turning its back, it's finished, it's moving away, but you have to activate that change by going through these motions. It's interesting that these are 4 major arcana cards. This is a really big frequency to come to terms with. To reach this point where we make people aware of the inhumanity that we have reached is what will allow us to face the new dawn that is coming. And what is that new dawn? It's not fully illuminated yet, but it's the Four of Wands. It's this card here that was about not being connected to the consciousness. But in this card, it's totally connected to the consciousness, because this is the natural world supporting us, surrounding us. And there's a fawn and a woman, and there's a dove. But also, on the other side, which we're going to ask how we get to, there's the skull of Aries. All of that, by activating a sacred anger to question authority, we can move past. It's time to take action. I don't mean individually. For the moment, the action that you need to take, individually, in that you need to heal yourself. But you will find slowly as we head through the next November, December, January, February, March, April, 6 months, that we're heading towards the release of the sacred anger to bring about global changes. Okay, so what do we... Oh, sorry. And then we have... I didn't complete that. There was the Two of Cups. Coming into an emotional union, balancing the world, tided emotions with spirit. And it's about moving into a frequency of sharing. This card is talking about sharing and looking after everybody, one another. So, that was part of that one. Let's go back to this. How are we changing this into this with the sacred anger all quelled? So can we please understand how to transform this Four of Wands? Can we please understand how to transform this Four of Wands? Right. I'm being told to do two things with this. It's the Ace of Pentacles and the Two of Wands. But they want me to point out that it's 12. And then they want me to point out that when they're reversed, they're 21, the completion of a great karmic cycle. So there's all kinds of wonderful numerical switchings going on through the music of the spheres as we move through towards 2021. The energy is shifting. So it's a new beginning, and it's a pathway of understanding. You know, this bird it's such a comical bird. I want to say there's humour to come. I want to say that there's celebration to come. You know, a lot of people will say, oh, next year is going to be hard. It will be hard, but maybe we will start to laugh about things that we're not allowed to laugh about now. As we improve the world for everybody, maybe we will begin to understand the distortions that exist within everything at the moment are a paradox. There's a constant paradox being unveiled and revealed. And as I said earlier, this is about untruths being revealed as truths. Things switching around, energies changing, things that you didn't think could change, transferring. So then we have fixed energy, 10 of batons. This is about unburdening, but this is about being in that sense of blindness. And that's really interesting. This is saying, this is the journey for most still. If you work with what we've just shown, if you make that decision to work with spirit, to work with magic, and to move forwards with this connection, when this full moon happens, don't think of it as a full moon of endings. Think of it as a full moon in which everything is heightened so that you get a glimpse through the veil so that you can almost speak. Because Mercury is in retrograde. Speak your sacred anger at what you would like to remove and what you would like as the new vision. And this is the rest of the world still stumbling around in the darkness as we go into 2021. So it's about this sense that there are two realities. Which one do you want to go down? The one that keeps you in fear or the one that keeps you in love? I'm going with love. I like love. I am going to do a video on love because it's a very uncomfortable word that we've distorted, and we need to get to the heart of the fact that the energy of love and the energy of the emotions around love are changing as well. But that's for another video. You'll have to keep reminding me. And then we have, I want to say, this is, I'm seeing this card in a completely different energy. This is the Nine of Wands, the Nine of Batons. This is the spiritual warrior. And yet, this is almost this. I'm being seen as it being tempted back into the darkness. Being tempted to not move forwards. Being tempted to stumble, to find that your vision is not holding true. And this is coming not as an energy of saying it's what will happen, you're doomed. It's an energy that's saying you will stumble, we will all stumble, we will all have moments when we trip up. We're doing 13 in a 12 frequency, particularly next year with it being 21. There's that 12 hidden inside there in reverse, and that's the chance to skip it onto a higher frequency. But This is about that temptation that when you stumble, you just fall back inside the cave. So what do we need to do to turn that energy around? Because it's mutable. What do we need to do to turn around the fears associated with the Nine of Wands here, please? Okay, so we've got, oh, that's interesting. It's all pentacles. There's a lot of pentacles coming out as solutions. It's talking about how when this October the 31st moon connects our consciousness and powers it back up that we've not been able to connect to through the crown chakra for the whole of this year, things are going to change. But they're going to change in how we perceive ourselves in the real world. Moon, third eye, all of that kind of stuff. So we have the Eight of Pentacles and we have the Two of Pentacles. This is referring back to the Magician who has vanished. He's just searching him out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, look. He's throwing his dreams and wishes through that connection into the new plate. There they are, in the new plate. And this brings balance, the choice between things, bringing, I want to say, a new passionate energy coming through. And passion's another word that we connected in that love reading, because we've distorted the word passion as well to mean something a little bit kind of rutty, and that's not what we're talking about here. So this is about standing in stillness, doing meditation. Look, and I talk about the fact that for some people stillness doesn't work. It's not necessarily about that, it's about connecting your consciousness. So what I'm being told in my head is, for those of you useless at meditation, when you go to sleep, that's when you need to find this inner stillness. Listen to your rhythms in your body, the heartbeat. Listen to blood coursing through your veins. Listen to the connection that all those different vibrations and frequencies resonate on. And just try and connect with Gaïa, Uranus, magical heart of the sky frequency, and ask for your visions, your dreams that you've placed honestly and openly in your collection plate to be received, and for you to get images in dreams as to what's happening with those frequencies. And that will keep you stable. It will keep you strong and true as a spiritual warrior. Right, so that's those. Oh no, sorry, there was one other. The King of Pentacles. So we've gone from connecting through Gaia, Uranus consciousness, through an understanding of the emotions, through the third eye, into the heart, and down into the earth with, I can't pick it up, down into the earth with the corn. And now we're becoming Zen within the real world. This is so beautiful because it's talking about drawing those two energies together in our hearts, in the world, in the cosmos, coming into a total alignment. So now, the moon. Maybe I'm not going to use the Odin cards. Maybe I'm just going to stick with these. What does the moon of Alabama? So, we now must say goodbye. That's why that song came in my head. So, Moon, what do you want to say about what you's doing? What are you doing, Moon? What are you doing, Moon? What are you doing? The Moon is creating an alignment, but shedding of the old, transformation. Oh, 4 and 6. Sorry, that's what I also wanted to say earlier. Didn't I? It pointed that out to me. What have I done with it? Completion and new beginnings. 10. Completion and new beginnings. 4 and 6. Completion and new beginnings. We're on an alignment of completions and new beginnings right now. So, can we please have... That's a lot of cards. No, we're not doing that because that's not tidy. I've now put them on upside down. Right, so can we please have some more messages from the moon? Can we please have some more messages from the moon? Beautiful. So we have the serpent, which is 2 serpents connecting the 2 Kundalini energies. Now look, Kundalini rises from the earth through all of our molecules. Kundalini also descends from the cosmos, from the heart of the sky, through the crown and into the body. And where does the Kundalini meet? In the heart, the 2 hearts. The lower earth Kundalini rises up and connects into Saturn green lower heart. The Kundalini from above descends and connects into the higher heart where we love others rather than where we love the natural world. And we mix those 2 energies into one and it sheds shit from us. That's what we're doing. And so we're being asked to... Oh my God, this is 6220, which is also a completion and a new beginning. Flow into being a wild woman. And look, she's got her hearts combined. Oh, that was really weird. There's a face here that isn't there, but it is every time I put it on the camera, leaning in. It's spirit. Oh, that's so bizarre. Look, there's a nose and a mouth, and then there's all this clouded spirit. It's like spirit is blowing kisses, the wind of change, onto us. You can't see it at all like that, but I can see it there. That's beautiful. I'm liking that little bit of magic. So, we have the flow and the wild woman. Hello, there's 2 cards just appeared that weren't there before, which is an 11, which is the master number of the earth. Now, the reason recently I discovered about the master number of the earth being that number, even though it's always been channeled to me, is that I was watching a guy who makes astrophysics kind of accessible to the masses. He's called Anton Petrov. He's absolutely fabulous, and he was doing a video on time, a lack of time, why we invented time, but also to do with the energy frequencies of the sun and how they switch polarities, the sun, and it has moments when it flares and moments when it's calm every 11 years. And I was like, now that makes perfect sense. If the sun is working on a master number frequency shining down on the earth, which flips every 7 years, then that would make sense why the inner core of the earth is an 11. The outer is this matrix 12 that we've been forced under, and then the 13 is living outside of it, connecting into the earth. So we have the medicine wheel and lightning. The medicine wheel contains all the compass points. It's talking about the music of the spheres. It's talking about the energy of the serpent, but it's also talking about the hummingbird of the heart. It's got karma dealt inside, and it's got spirit. It's like it's bringing everything together. This is the moment when things begin to change. Cosmically speaking, they changed already, but now that energy is getting down into the earth and it's coming back out and sending out its message back into the cosmos through us and through our consciousness. So let's see what we have as the lineup of energies of the moon. What are the energies, please? What are the energies that the moon would like to express to us? What are the energies that the moon would like to express? Oi! So that one's from there. So, just looking at the numbers. Okay, it begins with King of Swords. So now we've dealt with King of Cups, King of Pentacles. The moon is trying to bring Zen to the thoughts. Not just the emotions, but the distorted emotions that we create by thinking in wrong thought patterns. So to be Zen with swords, we need some clarifiers. Can you please clarify the King of Swords? Can you please clarify the King of Swords? Can you please clarify the King of Swords? There we go. So, we begin with the Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles is to do with harvesting. It's finding a way in which we can harvest something new within ourselves and within the environment around us. How do we connect better to the real world so that the real world can reward us through our molecules, not through our thoughts and emotions, not through our consciousness? How do we allow a respect, an understanding, I don't know what the word is. All I can see in my head is a kind of a kowtowing, a praising of the natural world, the earth frequency. And then we have the King of Wands. So we've now got all four motions. It's about moving into this thought process of Zen. But this is about, I want to say, a purity of passion, a divine spark, a new slate. It's the rebirth energy that the moon is offering. It's like this is the moon. Look, I know we talk about the moon as being a very feminine body, but all planetary things have both energies. They really do. And as B. Arthur would tell you, the man in the moon is a lady. So this is about Zen, because kings are Zen. They're masculine and feminine in balance. And there's peace. There's a kind of, there's a six little shells stitched onto the hat that's being worn here. There's a small flame at the base, but it is this, I want to say, it's a dance of celebration. There's joy. There's such beautiful I kind of want to say, go and dance in the moon. Be the wild woman. The wild woman doesn't follow rules. Her heart's combined. She does what she wants. She fears no judgment. So that's really, go and be tribal. Go and get out into that moon and jiggy. Shake it around. And then the Knave of Chalices. When you see rainbows in these cards, they're to do with divine energies. And to me, this is talking about a connection to the divine energy of the sacral. And it's this person, it's kind of saying this is that battle that we have to deal with the inner damaged child and the luminous warrior. It's like, it's a celebration, but it's also, it's been an effort to break into the sacral and let the energy of self-love restore and purify and integrate and change. And that will turn your troubled thoughts into a new thought pattern, a new journey forwards. Then we have the Six of Swords, moving forwards from the pain, moving on. This is also very interesting because this is an image of Arthur being sent into Avalon. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, that's a bit weird. Where's the sixth sword? Oh, it's in his hands. He's got Excalibur in his hands. And this is, I want to say this is like Morgan Le Fay. This is magic coming back. And him drifting off because that time is done now. We've gone through it. That time of no magic, of believing in some other form of spirituality is changing. And that spirituality, being in my head, I'm hearing consumerism. So then what do we get? That's the Six of Swords, and then we get the Six of Coins. This is flow. This is to be in flow. But there's something not yet flowing. It's again talking about the work that we have to do. So it's not working with spirit, but holding yourself still and almost looking down on your lives as if they were a sort of model village. And that's an energy that has to be transformed, because I'm going to put these two together, because you've got the Knight of Pentacles, and we had the Knight of Pentacles earlier, I'm pretty sure, long time ago, too many cards. So this is unmoving, static energy. This is unmoving, static energy, and somehow we need to turn those around. So let's look at them as a double mutable energy that needs turning. How do we bring back flow? How do we bring back the flow? How does the moon help us to bring back the flow? How does the moon help us to bring back the flow? Oh, I like that one. So it begins with the Seven of Swords. This is a transformation. Look, a long time ago we had the Seven of Swords from the vice versa deck, and I was talking about how it's taking out the pieces that you think will trip you up or cut your feet later, and that's what the moon is trying to remind us is such a key thing to get through this transformation with this moon in Taurus and Scorpio, to deal with birth, death and rebirth. We have to take out some of the threads that make our thoughts distorted. So it's again taking on that thing. look into your own lives, look into your own past, and question why you allow your past to hold you back when you could learn from your past and transform it. What do we have here? We have, it's fascinating because this is the back of the cards. This feels a bit like a vice versa card. And it's, when it turns around on the back of the card, there are 10, a completion and a new beginning. And this is a 10, but again, it's presenting you with the 8 pieces of your original dream that we put in with the Magician card at the beginning, connecting the alignments. They're talking about all this wonderful, abundant change that's coming in. There's the 8 again. It's kind of reminding us to just turn the mirror around. Everything is being turned around. The music of the spheres is changing. And then we have the Knight of Swords. So fight with yourself about how to perceive these distorted thoughts and move them into cleaner thoughts that bring about this frequency. So it's all part of an ongoing journey to create flow. And now we go from, that's hard. So we're going from this energy of stuckness with flow of the moon trying so hard to push through with the help of Gaia, Uranus. And then we turn it around to a new frequency entirely, to really getting ready to move forwards. And where are we moving forward to? Healing, lightning, something that's a new DNA physiognomy emerging from the medicine that you've gone through. And that's coming in with the Queen of Cups, which is all about emotional regeneration. Total emotional regeneration, absolutely beautiful. With the Four of Wands, again, we've got this canopied thing. This is the third Four of Wands that's come out in this reading. And this one is about a magical new life in bliss, in harmony with the Knight of Cups. And that's about marching forwards with renewed language. This I want to say, this is talking about that reading that I said would come in, which is to do with love and passion, but I'm not doing that reading now. So this is the setting up energy, this awakening of the consciousness, this bringing of the hearts together through understanding emotions with the third eye, connecting into the earth, that's bringing about the changes as we move towards 2021. So that's the reading. I feel like we just need a final Moonology card. Can we please have a final word from the moon? So, take time to breathe out. Disseminating moon. Disseminate those thoughts from the new ones. And the other thing that it's saying is the energy now, this collective marching forwards, is gaining momentum. And this is a crucial point. This blue moon that's happening on the 31st. So, I hope that helps. It's a bit long, I think, and a lot of confusion to take in. There's thousands of cards on the table, so you might have to have a little pause and think about things and jot stuff down. I should have probably said that at the beginning. Never mind. Wassail, beautiful people. I'm going for a swim now.